tribute to Kezar to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the show. I'm ready to talk about some of these training camp battles. It is July, which means training camp is just around the corner, and these battles are going to be at the forefront of training camp. Who's going to make this 49ers roster is one of the most interesting concepts that's going to be happening throughout the month of July and early August as we go through training camp and the preseason. And one of those big battles is going to involve Ty Davis-Price. One of the funny things about Ty Davis-Price is it was just last year that he was drafted in the third round, and then he was in the big battle with Trey Sermon. Ultimately, not only did TDP win that battle, but so did Jordan Mason as well. Trey Sermon was shipped away. He was waived and then picked up by the Philadelphia Eagles, and the 49ers went with a different makeup at the running back position. Well, now that TDP has been the fourth running back, somewhat passed by Jordan Mason last year, part of it because of circumstance, TDP getting an opportunity early in the season when Elijah Mitchell went down with injury, only to suffer an injury himself and then have Jordan Mason pass him by. So now TDP finds himself in the same situation Trey Sermon was in the year before, sitting in the 49ers' fourth running back spot, taking a look at some promising young players behind him. Those young players being Ronald Awatt and Kalen Laborn. And both of these guys have a lot of talent. So what does Ty Davis-Price have to do to make sure he can hold off these young bucks? What he's got to do is do what he knows he can do, what he did at LSU, the consistency, the way that he used his vision, the balance, the way he ran in the middle of the offense, was able to just stay calm, accelerate when needed. There was a real patience about his running style. And then when he was asked, he played with great physicality. TDP has a lot of talent and ability. And I think because we didn't see it very much in San Francisco last year in 2022, there really is a kind of loss as far as what TDP could be. I made a video just a little bit ago called TDP is Not a Bust. There was starting to be the conversation that TDP was a bust and he was going the same direction that Trey Sermon is. And I feel he's a different type of animal compared to what you were dealing with Trey Sermon, where the 49ers were putting Trey Sermon in an avenue at which he was playing in a system that didn't really fit his skill set, but they were trying to somewhat develop him to be a one cut and go vertical runner. TDP does that. So he's not in the same category as a Trey Sermon. He does get his foot in the ground and get vertical. He's a very north and south kind of runner. Both of them played with physicality, both of them with a big physical body that can impose and kind of impose their will on opposing defenses and wear them down. Now, I think TDP's place on this team somewhat changed a little bit for a couple of reasons. When he was drafted, it was Elijah Mitchell and Trey Sermon that were the holdovers from the year before, where Raheem Mostert had left and went to Miami. Now you've got a different type of case. You got Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, and Jordan Mason ahead of you. The 49ers running back room was definitely flipped on its head, and in a good way. So now TDP, who probably would have been working towards being the eventual running back two, and I even forgot about Jeff Wilson Jr. being on the roster last year, but he would have been the running back two behind Elijah Mitchell, is now battling to stay running back four. That's how quickly things can change. That's how quickly you can lose your job in the NFL. And the guys behind him are very talented. Now, TDP's stats in 2022 were nothing to write home about. He had 34 attempts for 99 yards. That is a 2.9 yard per carry average. That's not very good. It's not something that's going to keep you in the NFL. But I believe with time and with work, he can get better and better. I've seen the vision. I've seen what he can do as far as carrying the football. I've seen him catch the football out of the backfield. I was privy to go to training camp and be able to see him do all those things. And I could see that there was something there. Now, has it been brought out of him so that he can play at a high level yet? No. Is he going to have an opportunity to carry the ball in games? Probably not. I mean, that's the real reality of a running back that is running back for the San Francisco 49ers. Your goal is going to be helping the defense when you're playing on the scout team. It's going to be making yourself available for special teams and trying to show out in those categories, which is part of the reason Jordan Mason was ahead of TDP on the depth chart last year, was his ability to play special teams. Also, another thing that we heard Kyle Shanahan talk about Ty Davis-Price was the fact he was going to have to improve in pass protection, doing the things without the football. It's not all about carrying the ball, but it's about being in the right spots. Also, some of his lines and things that he was running, the angles at which he runs in the zone scheme, he needed to fix a little bit and clean up. But I think he's going to do those things in year two. Now, the upstarts that are coming after him in Awatt and Laborn are very, very good potential players. You've got two different kinds of runners, though. With Awatt, you've got a guy that's more balanced, a guy that's very patient, a lot like TDP. Body build, 5'11", over 200 pounds, not electric speed. I would say TDP's faster than him, but enough speed to make something happen, be able to accelerate and get to the second level, get a little bit of extra yards here and there, break some tackles. Those things are all there. With Laborn, you got a guy that is one of the better guys at breaking tackles and shows a lot of speed on film. Got a little bit of a wiggle to him. He can make people miss in the open field, and both guys are accomplished at catching the football in the backfield. I don't think either one of them can be taken lightly in this battle. So what do they have to do to beat TDP? Simple. They have to be more consistent with their reps than TDP is. What we've seen from TDP so far in his time in the NFL is inconsistency. One time you have a 20-yard run, the next time you have a run for -1. Then you get a 5-yard run, and then you get stopped for 1 yard. And what we've seen is TDP not have consistency in his run. If these two guys can prove that they're more consistent, they have a better chance of making the roster. Also, TDP already proved that special teams wasn't his forte, getting beat out by Jordan Mason. Awatt or Laborn can prove that they are better at special teams, which we know Laborn has some ability there already. Then that's another avenue for them to put pressure on TDP. I will say this for the undrafted free agents. We've seen the 49ers have undrafted free agents that make this roster. Guys like Matt Breida and Jeff Wilson Jr. and Jordan Mason. Even Raheem Mostert was once a undrafted free agent, just he came over with Chip Kelly from the Eagles. But you see these guys get onto rosters and make an impact. Most of the time, though, the running back depth is not this deep for an undrafted free agent to be able to make it. The 49ers have a tremendous amount of talent, with one of those guys being an already undrafted free agent in Jordan Mason. The likelihood of one of these undrafted free agents being able to make the roster over TDP is probably not good. Number one, he has a season under his belt. Number two, they're very high on him. And anytime you have players like Deebo Samuel coming out and saying that they're really excited to see what Ty Davis-Price is going to do in year two, makes you think that the team is whispering and has optimism about his potential fitting into this offense and getting extra carries. We're going to find out exactly who TDP is when we get to training camp, because he's already seen it. He's already seen what happens to a running back that doesn't do what Kyle Shanahan and what this running back room wants him to do. You get shipped out. You get waived. They find the next guy. So if you don't want to be another guy that was a third-round bust, you've got to battle your butt off. Do I think TDP's got the ability? Absolutely. He's got all the tools. He runs with balance. He can catch the ball in the backfield. He can block. He's got good vision. He's intelligent. There's a lot to like about TDP. And there's a lot to like about the other guys as well. I think it's going to be an exciting battle in the 49ers running back room. I don't think this is the only battle that's going to be highlighted from the room, but this is the one that means a lot, because not only is it who's going to make the roster between TDP, Awatt, and Laborn, but it's also who's going to be on the practice squad between Awatt and Laborn. That is something that's interesting as well, because if TDP makes the roster, one of those two guys is likely to be on the practice squad. I've heard many talk about the fact that potentially you could keep both guys, and you can. They can make themselves invaluable enough that you need to keep both of them on your practice squad. But the likelihood is it would be one. With all the talented players the 49ers have at other positions, having one running back makes sense because you have Ty Davis-Price as the fourth running back on your active roster. He's not going to get very many carries in a game, and how many times is he actually going to be active for those games? Meaning you're going to get him reps in those scout-type periods. He's going to get that extra work, which means you probably don't have to keep two running backs on your practice squad. It's going to be an absolute battle between those two and TDP, and then whoever doesn't win that battle against each other. I think it's going to be an exciting one. I don't think TDP, if he got waived, would make it to the 49ers practice squad. I believe somebody would claim him. He's got too much talent, too much ability. I think he's still got something there that I'd like to see the 49ers continue to work on and develop and see what could happen, because there are still question marks about Elijah Mitchell's health, not about his skill. Elijah Mitchell is by far the second best running back on the San Francisco 49ers team, and you just got to hope that he stays healthy. If not, Jordan Mason gets an added role, TDP gets an added role. So all these guys are playing for that time and also playing to make this roster. Let me know what you think about this training camp battle in the comment section down below. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is the most likely? Is TDP another Trey Sermon? He's going to be out the door, and one of these young guys is going to take his spot. Or do you believe, like me, that TDP is going to win this battle? He's going to be the fourth running back, and then the 49ers will decide between Awatt and Laborn. I want to know in the comment section down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, on the push for 4K. There's going to be plenty of training camp battles coming your way. Also, a brand new episode of the Ant Hill Show available on Patreon this week, and a brand new episode of Slightly Offside. So if you want full episodes of them, go over to Patreon, check those out. It's going to be a lot of fun content coming your way. But until the next time, stay safe and remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.